Yes, Prabhuji, we can. You can start. Yeah. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruven Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Staptitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanustute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasa Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Shrunvata Swakata Krishna Punyashravana Kirtanaha Hrudayantasto Hi Abhadrani Vidunoti Sruhutsatam Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike Tadvag Visargo Janataha Gaviplavo Yasmin Pratishlokam Abhadyavati Api Namani Anantasya Yasho Nikitani Yat Shrunvanti Gayanti Grananti Sadavaha Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome to the morning Srimad Bhagavatam reading group. Today is also the first day of Kartik Mass. So many, auspicious and joyful wishes to all of the devotees who have taken the time to join. So today we are going to read from the Canto 3, Chapter 21, verse 7. This is the discussion going on between Maitreya Muni and Vidura. Vidura is asking so many questions and Maitreya Muni has just started to respond. Vidura wanted to know all the details of the lineage of Manu and his children and so on and so forth. And that is where we are currently placed. Tata Samadhi Yuktena Kriya Yogena Kardama Samprapadye Harim Bhaktya Prapanna Varada Sushma. Due Tata, then in that penance, Samadhi Yuktena, in trance, Kriya Yogena, by Bhakti Yoga, worship, Kardamaha, the sage Kardama, Samprapadye, served Harim, the personality of Godhead, Bhaktya, in devotional service, Prapanna, to the surrendered souls, Varadashu, the bestower of all blessings. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. During the period of penance, the sage Kardama, by worship through devotional service in trance, propitiated the personality of Godhead, who is the quick bestower of all blessings upon those who flee to him for protection. Purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The significance of meditation is described here. Kardama Muni practiced mystic yoga, meditation for 10,000 years, just to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari. So in the previous verse, we read yesterday that, Brahma, his father, had asked him to, become a Prajapati, create good offsprings and lineages. And to start that, here Kardama Muni has started the penance of 10,000 years. Therefore, whether one practices yoga or speculates and does research to find God, one's effort must be mixed with process of devotion. Without devotion, nothing can be perfect. The target of perfection and realization is the Supreme Person. The target of perfection and realization is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly said that one who constantly engages in Krishna consciousness is the topmost yogi. The personality of Godhead, Hari, also fulfills the desire of his surrendered devotees. One has to surrender onto the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead, Hari or Krishna, in order to achieve real success. Devotional service or engagement in Krishna consciousness is the direct method, and all other methods, although recommended, are indirect. In this age of Kali, the direct method is especially more feasible than the indirect because people are short-lived. Their intelligence is poor and they are poverty-stricken and embarrassed by so many miserable disturbances. Lord Chaitanya, therefore, has given the greatest boon. In this age, one simply has to chant the holy name of the God to attain the perfection in spiritual life. The words Samprapadye Harim mean that in various ways, Kardama Muni satisfied the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, by his devotional service. Devotional service is also expressed by the word Kriya Yogena. Kardama Muni not only meditated, but also engaged in devotional service. To attain perfection in yoga practice or meditation, one must act in devotional service by hearing, chanting, remembering, etc. Remembering is meditation also, but who is to be remembered? One should remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Not only must one remember the Supreme Person, one must hear about the activities of the Lord and chant his glories. This information is in the authoritative scriptures. After engaging himself for 10,000 years in performing different types of devotional service, Kardama Muni attained the perfection of meditation. But that is not possible in this age of Kali, wherein it is very difficult to live for as much as 100 years. At the present moment, who will be successful in the rigid performance of many yoga rules and regulations? Moreover, perfection is attained only by those who are surrendered souls. Where there is no mention of the personality of Godhead, where is their surrender? And where there is no meditation upon the personality of Godhead, where is the yoga practice? Unfortunately, people in this age, especially persons who are of demonic nature, wanted to be cheated. Thus, the Supreme Personality of Godhead sends great cheaters who mislead them in the name of yoga, render their lives useless and doomed. In Bhagavad Gita, it is therefore clearly stated in the 16th chapter, verse 17, that rascals of self-made authority, being puffed up by illegally collected money, perform yoga without following the authoritative books. They are very proud of the money they have plundered from innocent persons who wanted to be cheated. Very strong purport. Prabhupada is, probably at his best, 2 small paragraphs, but he pulls his punches out, So I'll just reread the translation. During the period of penance, the sage Kardama, by worship through devotional service in trance, propitiated the personality of Godhead, who is the quick bestower of all blessings upon those who flee to him for protection. So there's so many things Prabhupada is saying here. Particularly what caught my eye was, yoga practice by itself doesn't lead to perfection. You can sit down and you can do pranayama and you can do so many other things. But without bhakti added into it, there is no progress. You can do it for 100 years, you can do it for 10,000 years, you will go nowhere. That is one of the main problems with that. Until and unless you surrender to the Lord, you are not able to get bhakti. And without bhakti, if you do yoga, there is no connection with the personality. So Prabhupada is actually talking about the yoga studios that have propped up, commercial. Basically, they are all commercial. What do? They are basically removing the Lord away from yoga. Yoga means connection, connecting to the Lord, connecting to the source. That connection is being removed and they're practicing. And who's going there? People who want to be cheated. We can take the example of, like why do people want to be cheated? This is something very unique to the people of Kali Yuga. You can take any cigarette pack anywhere, particularly in India, there are these horrific images of people suffering from cancer. I can't even look at those pictures. They're so horrific. But people decide to get cheated. They pay money. The government actually taxes tobacco products, I think 200 times or more. So if the actual, package is going to cost 100 rupees, they will be paying like 250 or 350 to buy it. It has that horrific picture. In spite of that, they pull out the cigarette, they light it, and they go into this enjoyment. They think, they're cheating themselves. They're not cheating anyone else. They're cheating themselves because all the barriers that can be put on have been put on, all the warnings have been given, still they're doing it. That is why Prabhupada is calling this as, these are cheaters who want to get cheated. So the Lord is sending great cheaters, wonderful cheaters who can ply the trade and you would not even know you're being cheated and you're enjoying it. So how do we do this? Krishna in chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gita, verse 27 says, Yat karoshi yad ashnasi, yad juhoshi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya, tat purvashu mam arpanam. What is he saying? Krishna is saying, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. So if you take this and look at what Kardama Muni did, yes, he did a 10,000-year tapas. But he was not like Hiranyakashipu standing on a single leg, holding his breath, doing the same 10,000-year tapas. It was not like that. It was very severe and austere, but it was not severe of the bad type, He was serving the Lord. He was constantly remembering the Lord. He was thinking of the Lord and he was going around doing various activities for the Lord and his consciousness was always fixed on the Lord. And he did his meditation on the Lord. That is how it is. So Prabhupada actually asked that question in the purport. You have to meditate, but on whom? Who is the person you're going to meditate? If you're a businessman, you meditate on your goal. And your goal is to make a lot of money, profit. So you're going to meditate on that. The same way, if you're wanting to attain perfection, then you have to meditate on the Lord. And the Lord is saying how to do that. He's saying, whatever you eat, offer it to me. Whatever you do or give away, offer it to me. The austerities you perform, every step of it, you think of me and then do the offering. Now, Krishna further says, like, if you do yoga and you do not have me as the center, what happens? In chapter 7, verse 19 of Bhagavad Gita, he says, Bahunam janmanam ante gnanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sadurlubha. So, after many births and deaths, He who is actually in knowledge surrenders onto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. So Krishna is very clearly, segregating. He's saying just doing yoga will not help. Gathering knowledge also will not help. If you gather knowledge and do not act on it, there is no purpose for the knowledge. If the knowledge is not put into action, there will be no result that will come out of it. So you need to take yoga, you need to take jnana, and you need to put both of them together, and you need to act. And Krishna actually says, you don't even need all of this. You can just act. And that is what he's saying, devotional service. Prabhupada, basically, one of the revolutions that Prabhupada created was his writings are very, very revolutionary. The way he uses his words, they're almost like weapons. He could have said bhakti is devotion like everyone else. But what did he do? If he just said devotion, then it becomes passive. He said devotional service, which means you need to act on what you want to do. It's not just a wish in your mind, but you need to act. And that is why he's saying, in this verse, he's saying, it takes many, many births and deaths to actually gain the knowledge. And then finally, you realize, oh, all of this is a waste if I don't surrender. And without surrender, bhakti, is not going to happen. And without bhakti, you're not going to be perfect. Without perfection, you're not going to attain the supreme abode of the Lord. So that is why he's saying Bahunam Janmanam Bhakti. And then, in 634, Bhagavad Gita 634, Arjuna is saying, Chanchala hi manah Krishna Paramati Balavad Dharma. Sorry, pardon me for reading this improperly. So here, Arjuna is saying to Krishna, the mind is restless. So if I want to do yoga, I can't even hold my mind. It's turbulent, it's obstinate, and it's very strong. Oh Krishna, and to subdue it, I think is more difficult than controlling the wind. So here, the greatest devotee of the Lord is saying, controlling the mind is so difficult. You sit down in yoga or whatever else, anything else you do, controlling the mind is so difficult. We can take the example of Vishwamitra. He was doing, similar to Kardama Muni and others, multiple, like 1,000 years or more years of meditation. And what was it? It was in the neti stage. He was rejecting everything and he was not using things in the service of the Lord, but he wanted to get perfection. His mode of perfection was, Vasishta is Brahma Rishi, I also want to become Brahma Rishi. And this was his motive. So what happens? Indra, for his own reasons, decides he needs to disturb Vishwamitra, and he sends Menaka. Menaka comes down, and just by hearing the ankle bells of Menaka, Vishwamitra gets disturbed. So mind is restless. You cannot achieve that. What does Kardama Muni do? He doesn't, just because Brahma told him, you need to progenate, you need to create lineages. He didn't go after looking for, a partner. What did he do? He said, I'm going to do, austerity of 1,000 years. I'm going to propitiate the Lord. And how am I going to do it? I'm not going to do it by my ego. I can do it, Instead, I will serve the Lord. I'll surrender to the Lord. So for 10,000 years, he surrendered to the Lord. He served the Lord. And that is why he was able to propitiate the Lord. So what is bhakti? Bhakti, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, 19th chapter, 170th verse. Sarvopadi vinurmuktam tat pravartena nirmalam hrushikeshena hrushikesha sevanam bhaktir uchyate. Bhakti or devotional service means engaging all our senses in the service of the Lord. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the master of all senses. When the spirit soul renders service unto the Supreme, there are two side effects. One is freed from all material designations, and one's senses are purified simply by being employed in the service of the Lord. So the formula is very simple. If you engage yourself in devotional service and you fully consciously do it, that is surrender. And once you achieve that stage, bhakti will automatically flow. And there are different stages of bhakti, which probably we are not going to talk about today. But as soon as you get into this mode, you'll be separated from all the material designations. You'll be freed from it. And then your senses also will be freed from all the material contaminations. Now, in Madhya Leela, chapter 19, 151, the verse says, Brahmandam Brahmate Kona Bhagyavan Jiva Guru Krishna Prasade Paye Bhakti Lata Beach. It's very easy to say surrender, do that, do this, but how do we do it? So for us, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually gave the formula of Sankirtan. Srila Prabhupada took it forward and he actually made it available at our doorsteps. No matter where we go, we cannot escape the ISKCON Sankirtan team. Every nook and corner of the globe is being, invaded by the ISKCON Sankirtan or the book distribution team. So what does this verse say? According to their karma, all living entities are wandering throughout the entire universe. Some of them are being elevated to upper planetary systems and some are going down into the lower planetary systems. Out of many millions of wandering living entities, one who is very fortunate gets an opportunity to associate with bona fide spiritual master by the grace of Krishna. So we can all understand how fortunate we are all that we have the association of Srila Prabhupada and so many other spiritual gurus in our community, in ISKCON and in our community. We also get to meet so many other devotees, and from them we gain so much. By mercy of both Krishna and spiritual master, such a person receives the seed of the creeper of devotional service. So rest assured, we all have received this creeper of devotion. And of course, there are different levels of fructification. Some are germinating, some have germinated. For some, it is still dormant. For some, the creeper has grown big, flowers, fruits are coming out of it. But rest assured that we are all in the right path. So I want to go to final chapter of Bhagavad Gita. In verse 66, Krishna is saying, abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions, do not fear. And in 67, the very next verse, he says, this confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, or nor to one who is envious of me. And in 68 he says, for one who explains this supreme secret to devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end he will come back to me. So propagating Krishna consciousness is very important. And what he says in 68, he reinforces in 69. He says, there is no servant in the world more dear to me than he. Who is this he? He is the one he defined in 68. Nor will there be even ever be one more dear. There can be no one more dear than the one who explains the supreme secret to devotees. So we can all take it that, doing the Sankirtan movement of, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and also, being in the movement of Srila Prabhupada, doing big distribution, doing all the devotional practices is very, very beneficial to us. I will stop there. If I have made any mistakes or if I have offended anyone, please forgive me. Any questions or any comments? Thank you. If there are no comments or questions.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for the wonderful class. And when we think of Kardama Muni's practice for 10,000 years, and our own small, how to, even the small span of time, we are not able to take advantage of it and completely immerse or stay fixed. That's what a difference, in the environment, in our own my mental climate. That's what I was just thinking about. But Srila Prabhupada, as you said, Srila Prabhupada, who distributed to people of New York first time. So when we think of that one, surrender is possible. Yes, imagine, to the hippies.
Yeah.
Every day we have to think of that revolutionary thing that Srila Prabhupada did.
Yeah,
so, thank you very much. So Kartika special. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mataji. You're right. When you said 10,000 years of Kardama Muni's practice, actually there is a DT worship course going on in the temple for 10 days.
Yeah.
Forget 10 years of my life. I could not even spare 10 days, and go to that course. So what sort of austerity can somebody like me do? That's the thing. But then, the other example you gave, in New York, Srila Prabhupada could make, devotees, and they would surrender in no time, no questions asked. These are people who were struggling for years, no end, would care for no authority. Srila Prabhupada would just step in. They would have seen Srila Prabhupada probably for a few hours or a few days, and there you go. They surrender to him. So only a pure devotee can do that sort of a thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
When we read Prabhupada Leelamrita, it's amazing. One lady used to come from Bronx to 1 hour daily.
Oh my God.
Yes. So wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. So it's 8 o'clock. If there is no other comments or discussions, we can end the call here. Thank you.